वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Saturday and Sunday series on Sri Harinam Chintamani. Yesterday we began the discussion on the fifth offense. We began with chapter 8 yesterday, that is Artavad. Name Artavad Aparad, interpreting the holy name. So we saw the two verses of the invocation, and then we discussed to consider actually what is the fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. One, this is one thing. The second is, based on that imagination, then you give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. Because it doesn't fit in your imagination, then you interpret it. The glories of the holy name which are inconceivable, first of all you think, oh, these glories are all exaggeration, they are all imaginations, they are not actually the real results of the glories of the holy name, and then you interpret. So there are these two things. So that is why first Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the glory of the holy name, and we saw that yesterday from 3 to 10. So from 3 to 10 he mentions how Krishna gives mercy anyone who with faith or even with contempt chants the holy name, Shraddha or Helana, or Sanket also. And then there is no knowledge as pure as the holy name. There is no vow as powerful as the holy name. There is no meditation like the holy name. There is no fruit like the holy name. There is no renunciation like the holy name. Nothing is equal to the holy name. There is no piety like the holy name, and there is no goal, higher, greater goal like the holy name. The holy name is the highest liberation, it is the highest destination, it is the greatest peace, and the holy name is the highest abode. The holy name is the greatest devotional service, and it is the purest, and it is the highest love, it is the greatest meditation. The holy name is Prabhu, it is Master, it is the object of worship, it is the supreme spiritual Guru. That is why we address the holy name as Nam Prabhu. And then we discuss this 11th verse of the potency of the best holy name is the holy name of Krishna. And this was the reference yesterday. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning how thousands names of Vishnu is equal to one name of Lord Ram, and 3 names of Lord Ram is equal to one holy name of Krishna. That means once I chant Krishna, I have taken 3,000 Vishnu names. So that is what, and yesterday we saw the reference also from the Chaitanya Charitamrita about it. Now today we will begin from text 12 onwards. 12 to 16, after explaining the glories of the holy name, now the first conception or the misconception in one sense is to consider the glories of the holy name imagination, that Aparad he speaks about in these verses 12 to 16. Persons who consider the glories of the holy name imagination will certainly go to hell. Such a heavy offense. Those who consider these as imagination, they will go to hell. Shruti gana namera mahatma sadagay namera chittatvata boli jagate janiya. The Vedic scriptures eternally sing the glories of the holy name. Shruti gana namera mahatma sadagay. Shruti gan means the Vedic scriptures. In the spiritual world, especially in Golok Vrindavan, there's a Chaturvyuha. Chaturvyuha means the 4 sides. There is Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Adhyunya. There are like 4 gates, you can say. So on these 4 directions are the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva. In their original forms, they eternally reside as personalities. So they are always singing the glories of the holy name. They teach the world about the spiritual nature of the holy name. Namera chitta tattva boli jagata janaya. Janaya means, they teach about the nature of the holy name, the Shrutis. Shruti smriti pradarshita namera efal tahay artavad kare pashanda prabhal. Only great offenders, pashanda, think that the Shruti and the Smriti scriptures, Shruti Smriti Pradarshita, describing the super excellent qualities of the holy name are exaggerations. Pradarshita namera efal, that these are the fruits of chanting Hare Krishna. The fruits were mentioned in the verses 3 to 10. Those Shrutis and Smritis which mention about these fruits, transcendental qualities, if one thinks they are exaggerations, then they are great offenders. They are the great offenders to the, in one sense, the Vedas, because the Vedas glorify the glories of the holy name. Harinama artavad e adhama kare se papishta narkite pachi pachi mare. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very heavy in a very sweet way. Whoever commits such a abominable offense rots eternally in hell. Harinama artavad e adhama. He is adhama. He is abominable. Say papishta, such a sinner, narkite pache pache mare. He rots eternally in hell. Ebole namera phala shruti satya noy, name ruchi dite matra tata phala koy. Shastrera tatparya ar jiva hita hita, say adama nahi jane bhuje viparita. Now, what exactly is the interpretation in verse 15 and 16? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning, anyone who interprets the scriptures meaning by saying, the scriptures description of the benefits obtained by chanting of the holy name is not really true. E bole namera phala shruti satya noy. Satya Nyaya means it is not true. They are only given to attract people to the holy name. Nama ruchi dite matre tata phala koi. Just that people should, become pious and take up to spiritual life. That is why, to promote that, the scriptures are speaking like that. So firstly, because the glories of the holy name are inconceivable, you imagine that they are not true. And with your imagination, then you interpret that which is infallible, the Vedic scriptures, that is apurusheya, which is directly coming from the Lord, that with your mental speculation, you interpret that this is not really true. Oh, people just to, motivate them to take up the spiritual life, these kind of fruits are mentioned. These are not the real fruits. So because the jiva is bound by karma, karmani bandine manushya as in the 15th chapter of the Gita, in the 5th verse, I guess, or in the 4th verse, karmani bandini manushya. Everyone in this manushya is bound by karma. So because we have this fruitive mentality, oh, just these fruits which have been, the spiritual eternal fruits which have been mentioned in the Vedas, they are not true. Just to motivate people to take up to spiritual life, they are mentioned like that. So like that, when we interpret, we commit this offense, that is the 5th offense. Is the lowest of the men. Say adhama. He has no idea of the purport of the scriptures. Shastrera tatparya. Tatparya means the purport or the conclusions of the Shastra, of what is beneficial for the individual souls. Are jiva hita ahita. What is beneficial and what is not beneficial. The truth is opposite of what he thinks. Nahi jane buje viparita. Viparit means he thinks, it is, the truth is something, but he thinks something opposite. So here is a footnote. Okay. Now, why this happens, why this offense happens of Arthavad is mentioned in the footnote by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is very interesting. A person who has not performed the pious deeds of devotional service will not have faith in devotional service. So the reason is one has to have bhakti punya, bhakti arjit punya. That is why it is mentioned in the prayers. Every day when we take prasadam, we chant 2 prayers. One prayer is from the Mahabharat. The second prayer is composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The Mahabharat prayer is Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Salpa Punya Tamrajam Vishwasa Naiva Jayate. So Vishwasa Naiva Jayate means one's faith is not born, who has done very little pious activities, Salpa Punya Tamrajam, very pious, little pious activities who has performed, he doesn't have faith in what? The Lord's Mahaprasad. Then Govinde and Nama Brahmane. Nama means in the holy name and in the Vaishnavas or in the absolute truth. So he doesn't have faith in the prasad, in the holy name, and in the Lord and the Vaishnavas. Because he doesn't have this spiritual credit, bhakti arjit punya. If you remember in my first class only, I had discussed there are 3 types of, punyas: karmutta punya, jnana utta punya, and bhakti utta punya. Punya, which is coming by performing pious activities mentioned in the Vedas. Then punya, which is by executing the path of jnana or ashtanga yoga. And punya, which is by performing pure devotional service. So because they don't have this punya of pure devotional service, pious credits, like in the Gita also it is mentioned in 7.28, Krishna says, Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Punya karma. Punya karma here in the Gita, maybe I can show the verse so that sometimes devotees cannot relate when we directly quote. Yes. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. So punya here, Prabhupada is saying pious, karmanam, previous activities. So one who has not acted piously. Now here, punya karma, the acharyas explain, Srila Prabhupada also explains in one sense that here it refers to devotional activities, not ordinary pious activities of karma or jnana. It refers to devotional pious credits. Or in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, second chapter, I think it is verse 15, no, 16, 17. Shunvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana ridhantastohya bhadrani vidhanoti suritsatam punya shravana. So punya again Prabhupada says virtue or pious, hearing. Now hearing about Krishna is also pious credit, but it is spiritual, devotional credits. These are completely bhakti uttha punya, and these are not ordinary pious karmas or jnana, anything from the jnana. It is completely devotional and spiritual. So those who don't have this devotional pious credits, those who have not performed these devotional pious credits, they don't have faith in bhakti. Therefore, attraction to the chanting of the holy name, chanting, that is the best of all activities of devotional service, will not take birth in a person who has not performed these pious credits. So that is why, when does one take up to chanting? When his Shraddha is awakened in the association of devotees. And what is that Shraddha? Many lifetimes of Agyat Sukruti. And what is Agyat Sukruti? Unknowingly, you have done some service to sadhus who are Vaishnavas. You have fed sadhus, you have given donation to a Vishnu temple. You have taken the Charnamrit of Vishnu, what has come from the lotus feet of Vishnu. You have taken bath in the Ganges, in the Yamuna. So all these are devotional pious credits which have accumulated over many lifetimes, which is called as Agyat Sukriti. And when that Agyat Sukriti matures and you come in association with sadhus and you hear about bhakti, then you develop faith in the sadhus, you associate with the sadhus, and hearing to that, you start following instructions of the sadhus to take up to spiritual life. So Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, and then you take up to Bhajan Kriya. So this has not happened to these people. And that's why they don't have understanding of the glories of the holy name which are done in devotional activities. Such persons will not believe in the description of the limitless benefits brought by chanting the holy name. A person who is attached to only one part of the scriptures has no power to understand the scriptures as a whole. So even people who are on the karma marg or in the jnana marg, they cannot understand the glories of the bhakti marg. What are the benefits of bhakti marg? So because they are only attached to the one part of the scripture, they don't know the whole scripture as such. So this is the reason why, we end up committing this offense. So any questions, any clarification anyone has can raise their hand up till now what we have discussed. Yes, Mahanarsima Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Very wonderful point you brought, Prabhuji. So it means that, Prabhu, in our preaching efforts, so until unless the people don't have that sufficient sukruti, they cannot really take our message seriously. So that is one point. Another point is that by our preaching process, we can cultivate that bhakti sukruti in them, so that in the future they can take up to the devotional service. Is that the right understanding, Prabhu?
Yes, perfectly. So as long as their devotional credits, don't mature, they will not take up to devotion. One. And that is why we will come to the ninth offense, to instruct the glories of the holy name to the faithless person. So there, we should, only for such people give positive spiritual, bhakti impressions to them. We should expose to bhakti impressions so that their bhakti credits keep on accumulating, just like giving them Charnamrit, Mahaprasad, taking them to darshan, and later on, basic Sambandha Gyan. That is our, ABCD spiritual knowledge, that is Bhagavad Gita courses. All this is instilling faith. But we, in the beginning only, cannot directly start describing the unlimited glories of the holy name because they have not yet developed that faith. So in our preaching, there is some risk involved with respect to the ninth offense. But if we are speaking the basic philosophy, then it is okay. Then we will be not at risk of committing the ninth offense. Yes, basically, uh, many of the devotees, in the name of preaching, do a lot of anti-preaching. Especially, I'm speaking about not to newcomers within the family members, like the son is practicing spiritual life and he wants the mother and father to take up to spiritual life. He has attained that benefit. He has become free from all bad habits, and he's relishing, going to the dham, attending yatras, kathas, so much Mahaprasad. But he tries to force it to his parents, or the parents might force it to the children, and they have still not accumulated that sukriti to take up to the practice. So having not accumulated that sukriti, when you try to force, although they are not ready for it, that is not really preaching. But what we need to do is very systematically, not to preach to them, but to expose them to bhakti impressions. That is real preaching, just exposing to them bhakti impressions. And when we do that, and as they develop appreciation, on their own they will take it up. On their own they will take up. So especially with our close, near and dear ones whom we are related through bodily connections, we in one sense commit this offense on trying to tell or preach to them, and in one sense we do anti-preaching. Suppose in the house the son has taken up to spiritual life, and the mother is somehow devoted for many years to some devta, and she is offering naivedya to that devta. And now we know that ultimately who are the devtas. We have attended the course, we have taken up to chanting. Oh, this is all bogus. If you are not offering prasad to Vishnu, this is hellish. Like that, if we immediately speak, they have that faith which is coming from their previous lives, and in this life for many years. For their faith to give up from the devta and develop faith in Vishnu, it is not an overnight thing. It happens slowly and with proper sambandha gyan. So how we should handle these things has to be done very, very carefully, and this is where maturity is required. In the initial stages, because of our neophyte condition, uh, we commit these mistakes, and slowly we have to get proper knowledge and expose people to bhakti impressions, and automatically they will tuck up to spiritual life. So this is very important. So I hope the footnote is clear. Now, text 17 to 19, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the benefits given by the holy name are true. There is no need to exaggerate them. There is no exaggeration in them. It is all true. So these people think it is not true. Those who have no faith in it, those who imagine and interpret, because they don't have pious bhakti credits with them. So they imagine like that. But here he is clarifying now in this theme. Karma kanda cheta kaitava swartha gyan bhakti tatve name taha nahi vidyaman. The Karma Kanda part of the Vedas contains cheating and selfishly motivated knowledge. Achete kaitava swa artha gyan, because it promises enjoyment in this world and the next world in the heavenly planets. So because the practitioner is motivated, he is practicing those pious activities given in the Karma Kand because he has swartha. There is some self-interest in it. So that is why it is one sense cheating. It contains cheating, self-motivated knowledge. Bhakti Tattva Name Taha Nahi Vidyaman. Such motivations are not present in chanting of the holy name in pure devotion. So we don't chant. We all here are devotees who are attending this online class. How many of us chant so that we can go to heaven and enjoy in the heaven? No, we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra because it pleases Krishna. We are following the definition of pure devotional service. Anya Bilashita Shunyam. Karma Kanda Phala Shruti Rochanartha Jani Bhakti Tattva Phala Shruti Nitya Satyamani. I know the material benefits described in the Karma Kanda are meant to attract the people. I know the benefits bought by devotional service are eternal and real. So here is the difference between the Karma Kanda Phala and the Bhakti Phala. The Karma Kanda Phala is basically those who are human beings, to bring them to the path of dharma. Everyone, conditioned soul, he wants to enjoy in this material world. So to enjoy, yes, you can enjoy dharmically. So that's why it comes with dharma, artha, kam. Dharma, artha, kam, and then there is moksha. So all these four, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, are sense gratification. The highest sense gratification is moksha, to become one with God. It's the highest level of sense gratification. But bhakti is above all. Bhakti is prema pumartho mahan, panchama purushartha. So the karma kanda phalas are all mentioned in the Vedas to attract the conditioned souls to take up to the path of dharma. Yes, you want to enjoy dharmically at least. But the Vedas have a very deep intention. Ultimately, they will purify that conditioned soul and ultimately make him pious so that he can take up to devotional service. Because bhakti is the ultimate path which the Vedas show. The Bhakti Tattva Phala is Nitya and it is Satya. It is true, it is real, and it is eternal. That is the difference between the Bhakti Tattva Phala and the Karma Kanda Phala. Srila Prabhupada in the purport to 112, Dharma Projita Kaitavo Parma Munirmat Saranam Satam. Prabhupada explains that Dharma Projita Kaitava, the Kaitava Dharma. The Kaitava Dharma is cheating religion. And what is that Kaitava Dharma? Both the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. It's rejected in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitava paramo nirmatsaranam satam. It is meant for the nirmatsaras who want to develop Krishna prem. So there Prabhupada in the purport explains that why one takes up to dharma. The root reason why somebody takes up to dharma is for sense gratification. Oh, now today in this world, it is not seen, but in the olden times, in the Vedic times, somebody is very opulent. He has got a lot of wealth. He's very dharmic. So, oh, I also want sense gratification. Let me also perform dharma. So people take up to dharma. The reason is very, very deep-rooted. It is because of sense gratification. This is very interesting. It's only because of sense gratification. So Prabhupada here, Prabhupada mentions, in the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord over material nature because everyone has come to become God here. Everyone wants to become the controller. In other words, there is continuous rivalry for satisfying the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion, dharma. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable by in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. So this is the condition today. Today, our modern heroes are not Indra, Chandra, Vayu, who have performed a lot of pious activities and they are the controllers of heavenly planets. Our role models are some film stars or some cricket hero who is very rich and he's enjoying life. And how he has come to that position? By doing all kinds of activities. So people want to also follow them as role models and they are not dharmic. So they also don't take up to religion to attain those goals. This is the situation in the modern civilization. Man is thriving economically. So at present, he is not very interested in religion. So in today's world, out of dharma, artha, kama and moksha, there is only artha and kama. People are fruitive, they work very hard and earn money and enjoy. So artha and kama. So there is dharma which is out and moksha is also taken out. People are just caught up in artha and kama. Prabhupada says churches, mosques and temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, cinemas than religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gain. So dharma is done because for what? Artha. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. From artha comes kama. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation. So when kama is not satisfied, because if he had taken up to the path of dharma to take artha, from artha will come kama, and kama is not satisfied, then he will take up to moksha at least. But in today's world, because people are not doing sense gratification based on dharma, just on artha, dharma is out, they will never think about moksha. This is the sad situation in today's world. He takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. So even moksha is the highest sense gratification. Now, how the Vedas are designed. In the Vedas, the above mentioned 4 activities are prescribed in a regulative way, so that there would not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to these sense gratificatory activities. So here we can understand how the whole Vedic model is there, where from the path of karma, which there is a desire for sense gratification, people are attracted to take up to dharma. And slowly from that dharma, aparadharma, ultimately the Vedas will take that jiva to parodharma. Parodharma is bhakti. So there is difference between these two phalas of the karma kanda portion of the Vedas and the jnana kanda portion of the Vedas. Yes, Maya Narasimha Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, my question is on the Srimad Bhagavatam context, Prabhu. Is it all right, Prabhu?
Yes.
As you said, Prabhuji, Bhagavatam kicks out all the cheating religions and it is predominantly speaking about pure devotional service. But we do see Bhagavatam does not only talk about pure devotional service all the time, but it conclusively tells about pure devotional service. For example, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha also comes in the Bhagavatam. For example, Dhruva Maharaj practice of bhakti was for the Artha, and Prithu Maharaj practiced Dharma by performing so many sacrifices. And Devahuti, initially she tried to enjoy with her husband. Later she repented after hearing to.
I understand that the outlook what you have regarding the pastimes of the Bhagavatam, they are not in line with what the Acharya's vision is about Bhagavatam. Because right in this one verse, it is already mentioned that dharma projita kaitava atra paramo nirmatsaranam, that the Bhagavatam kicks out all cheating religions and expounds the highest religion, or propounds, as Prabhupada says, which is pure devotional service. So this is the central theme of the Bhagavatam. And now the pastimes, what you are describing, now let us take the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. Now Dhruva Maharaj was living in the Vedic times. He was born of a pious king. He was born as a king's son. He's pious, he's dharmic. But because he was insulted and he wanted a greater kingdom than his great-grandfather, he was recommended by his mother that you worship Narayan. You worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. And he went out, and because he was sincere, Krishna sent Narad Muni. So he got the association of a pure devotee like Narad Muni. And he practiced bhakti with the intention to get what? A kingdom greater than Brahma. So his bhakti, he practiced bhakti, but that bhakti was mishrit. It was mishrit with karma. Karma Mishra Bhakti it is called. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, Chatur Vidha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritano Arjuna Arto Jikyasu Artarti Jnani Cha Bharatarshava. There is Artho. Artho means one who is distressed. Jigyasu means one who is inquisitive. Artharti means one who wants wealth. So intentionally, Dhruva Maharaj practiced devotion with the desire to get wealth. But when he practiced devotion, he got the greatest wealth of meditation, where he saw the Lord in the heart, and that same Lord appeared in front of him. And when he had this darshan, what was Dhruva Maharaj mood? I was actually, asking for pieces of glass, but now I found a diamond. So from Karma Mishra Bhakti, he came to Shuddha Bhakti. So that is the example from the Dhruva Maharaj pastime. So what it is for us to learn, that we should not practice bhakti with the desire to attain, anything in this world. So from Dhruva Maharaj pastime, we learn this. Now, again, Prithu Maharaj, that understanding is not exactly what the Acharya has explained. Even Devahuti, the whole Kapil Shiksha, if you see, Devahuti was very much troubled by material desires. The senses always are harassing me to enjoy in this world. And what does Lord Kapila answer? He take up to bhakti, pure devotion. And he explains pure devotion in chapter 25. then somebody might say, oh, you're only extolling the glories of Bhakti Yoga because you yourself are practicing that. In the 26th and 27th chapter, he explains Gyan Yoga by which you can attain liberation and become free from the troubles of this material world. Then he explains in 28th chapter Ashtanga Yoga. So after explaining all these three parts, Devhuti says, I feel Bhakti Yoga is the best process. Please now give me more detail about how I can practice Bhakti Yoga. So then Kapil Dev in chapter 29 explains how to practice sadhana bhakti and attain sadhya bhakti and what are the obstacles in attaining the sadhya. So like that, we'll have to see from Acharya's perspective what the Srimad Bhagavatam is extolling. It is only extolling pure devotional service and nothing else. If Mishra Bhakti is also mentioned, ultimately that Mishra Bhakti, how it turns into pure Bhakti is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, if you read Dhruva Maharaj pastimes, because ultimately Dhruva attained pure devotion to the Lord, but since he had practiced with the intention to get a kingdom higher than Brahma, the Lord gave him. He gave him his own planet, spiritual planet, Dhruva Lok. And there he is ruling now on Dhruva Lok. So ultimately, he immediately in one sense could not get the highest benefit because his bhakti was mishrit. But that mishran went away when he had pure darshan of the Lord and because of a pure devotees sadhus association. So this Mishra Bhakti can give results only in the form of one can attain the Lord in Vaikuntha. But Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service, which Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu defines, can be only attained by the mercy of the pure devotees. And those who are Mishra Bhaktas also take up to pure devotional service and ultimately can attain Golok Vrindavan. So what are the examples of those who are practicing Mishra Bhakti and took up to Shuddha Bhakti? The examples is again Dhruva Maharaj. He attained the mercy of Narad Muni and the Lord himself. Gajendra, he was in distress and he called out the Lord in order to come and save him from distress. He did not call the Lord out of pure love to serve him. He called him to save him from this danger. But ultimately, when the Lord appeared, his heart got purified by the Lord's mercy. He attained Shuddha Bhakti. How did the sages of Naimisharanya? They were practicing Karma Kanda. They were doing a yajna. Their intentions were pure for the people of Kali Yuga because they knew how Kali Yuga is going to be in the future. And they practiced this yajna, but ultimately they attained the mercy of Suta Goswami and they all took up to pure devotional service. So how those who are mixed devotees, how they took up to pure devotional service and attained the highest benefit is mentioned. So from that angle, Mishra Bhakti is also discussed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but how one should not take up mixed devotion and practice devotion is also highlighted in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I hope it is clear, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for wonderful explanation. So when we see this Nirmatsaranam Shatam, so sometimes it bewilders. It makes us feel that we are not qualified for a Bhagavatam study or to practice. But these examples gives us hope that wherever we are, we can also transcend to that stage of pure devotional service, irrespective of our present conditionings and motives.
Yes. See, if you read the word-to-word translation, Nirmatsaranam Satam, Prabhupada saying of the 100% pure in heart. So this is for Bhagavatam. But is Bhagavatam only meant for Paramhamsas? Was the Bhagavatam spoken for the Paramhamsas? There's an entire presentation on this one of my very dear friend devotees had first time I heard from him. And you see whom the Bhagavatam was spoken for. Vyasdev spoke Bhagavatam to whom? Those jivas who are bound in Maya. Anartho upashamam sakshat. Bhakti yoge adekshade. Lokas ajanato vidvan chakre satvatam samitam. Vidvan, the Vyasdev composed this Amal Puran Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because lokas ajanata. People are ignorant. They are caught up in Maya. So it is for the conditioned souls, but the jivas. And then Vidur Maitreya. Vidur is saying, I have heard the Mahabharata several times, but still my heart is not saturated. Now I want to only hear the pure glories of Krishna. So many places in the Bhagavatam was not only spoken to Paramahamsas, but anyone who is in any conditioned state, if he takes up to pure devotion, his faith is pure, but he might be conditioned because of anarthas. But by practicing pure devotion, anarth nivritti will happen, and ultimately he will be able to transcend the modes and practice, be situated in Shuddha Sattva, and practice Shuddha Bhakti and attain the Lord. So that is the point. Okay? Yeah. So we were in this Karma Kanda benefits and Jnana Kanda benefits. Nama Tatve Sama Nahi Paye Kabustan Nijera Nahi Ke Swartha Nama Kari Dan. The glories of the holy name have no end. Nama Tatma Samya Nahi Paye Kabustan. In the chanting of the holy name, cheating and exaggeration are shunned. Nijera Nahike Swartha Nama Karidan. When a devotee inspires a person to chant, it is done without selfish motives. So without selfish motives, devotees go out and preach and tell people to take up the holy name. Nobody goes out to preach to take others to take up the holy name. Oh, you want to attain Swarga? Yes. Take up the holy name and you'll attain Swarga. No. Everyone preaches to chant the holy name, to take up to pure devotional service. So that is the reason we preach. Now the next theme in text 20 to 25 is Karma Phalera Arthavad Aparityaja. One should not renounce the idea that the benefits given by karma are exaggerations. So this is a very important theme. Let us see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say. Namadhana Shraddhavane Ei Jana Kare Krishna Dasya Kare Se Swa Artha Parihare. A person gives the holy name, a person give the holy name that has faith in the benefits brought by the chanting of the holy name, engages in devotional service to Lord Krishna. He renounces the desire to attain material blessings. So there is no swa-artha in this. A person who gives the holy name so that others can engage in the holy name. That is why Prabhupada was very particular that we should hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from a pure devotee, the transcendental sound vibration, because his heart is pure and he can give others the holy name, and others might be impure in their heart. They might have many material motivations, but by hearing the transcendental sound vibration from a pure devotee, they will also take up to chanting, and all the material desires which are in the form of anarthas will slowly get wiped away, and they will also become pure devotees. That is why you can see late in the 1960s and 70s, Hare Krishna Mahamantra was everywhere known, especially in Bengal and Oriya. because that was the hub of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Right from 15th century to 1927, 20th century, it was a household affair. Every house uh, knew about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In fact, today also many devotees tell me that in Odisha and Bengal, uh, in every house, people used to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and every day do kirtan of the Gaudiya bhajans. Many Westerners who were attracted to spirituality, they came to India, they traveled to the holy places, they heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We all know that Howard Wheeler is, I'm not able to recollect his spiritual name. Howard Wheeler came to India and he also heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but he could not take up to the practice because he had not heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the mouth of a pure devotee. But when Srila Prabhupada went to America, he vibrated the pure holy name, and many who were not even pious from the material perspective. Piety means material piety. I'm speaking of karma kanda piety. They were the most fallen. They took up to pure devotion and got purified, and many are sannyasis who are preaching this knowledge all over the world. So this is the importance that we should take the holy name, one who has faith in it, and engage in devotional service. Karma karila yajakera artha labh ataiva tahe kaitevar ta prabhav. The performer of the ordinary Vedic rituals attains material benefits. Karma karila yajike. Yajike means yagyas, rituals. Artha labh. Why do you do? To attain some labh, artha, material benefits. In the end, therefore, he is actually cheated. Atha eva taha kaitava. It is actually cheating. Veda smriti nama phala ananta bhakane Swartha buddhi shunya se etaha nahi mane. The Vedas and the Smriti Shastras, Veda Smriti, Namaphala, Ananta Bhakan, have described the unlimited auspiciousness obtained by chanting the holy name. Only those whose intelligence is covered by selfishness will reject such a verdict. So those who are in the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda, they are selfish. And they cannot understand the glories of the holy name. And that's why they interpret. And that's how they commit this Arthavad Aparad. So even devotees who take up to spiritual life, who are still not chanting Shuddhanam, they cannot fathom also the glories of the holy name. So they should go to a guru or a sadhu who knows the Nama Tattva and slowly try to understand and also become free from this Arthavad or saying, oh, this is too exaggeration. Like I always give this example from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is mentioned, Eka Krishna Nam Loy Sarva Papa Shaya. Maybe I should find that verse. Eka Krishna Nam Loy Sarva Papa Shaya. How is it possible, you might think? That just by taking one name of Krishna, all the sins are destroyed. How is it possible, you might think? Let us see whether I can. Here you see the glory of the holy name. Koti Ashwamedha Eka Krishna Nama Sama. Ekahe Se Pashandi Danda Tarayama. So what is this? Can you conceive? If somebody says that 110 million Ashwamedha Yagyas is equal to chanting of the holy name, he is an atheist, he is a Pashandi, and he will be punished by Yamraj. That means you cannot compare Ashwamedha Yagya, which is a Karma Kanda Yagya, to the pure practice of the holy name. So this is, the glory given here. So I wanted to give another reference. Let us see whether we can get that. Oh, it's not functioning. Okay. Yes, this is the verse I wanted to show. Ek Krishna naam kare sarva papashaya navida bhakti purna nama hoita hoy. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all reactions of sinful life. One can complete the 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting the holy name. So how do we understand Eka Krishna Nama Kare Sarva Papashaya? Anyone has any thoughts about it? Do you believe in this statement? Eka Krishna Nama Kare Sarva Papashaya. Is it true? What is our understanding after practicing of so many years, like at least 5 years or 10 years in Krishna consciousness? Is it true that Eka Krishna Nama Kare Sarva Papashaya? Yes, we should have faith in it. Although we are still not free from sin after chanting so many years. But this Krishna Nam is actually pure name. Shuddha Nam, when we chant that pure name, then all the papa is destroyed. Because now we are chanting Namaprad, still all the papa is not destroyed. That is why Vaishnava Acharya's commentaries are important. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he discusses this verse, he explains that when one chants at the stage of asakti, when he chants with deep affection for Krishna, that one name when he takes, all the previous pious and sinful reactions are completely destroyed. So at the stage of asakti, you are chanting, this effect happens, Sarva Papa Shaya. It's not just one name which is taken out of aparad, but it should be Shuddha Nam. So these glories of the holy name are so unlimited, and one whose intelligence is covered by selfishness, he will not understand it and he will have doubts about it. So that is how we should understand. So which verse we are discussing now? It is 23. I will take up 2 more verses and then finish this theme and then take up the questions. Karma Sabha Shubha Shubha Jadera Ashray Jadamaya Phala Yache Yajamana Chaye. Karma being material brings good and bad material results. Shubha Ashubha Jadara Ashray. So by doing karma kanda, you go to Swarga. Swarga is part of this material world. So the fruit is not spiritual. The fruit is material. This is very clearly to be understood. The performer of karmic rituals thus desires results that are material. Jadamaya Phal Yache. Ache means desires. Yajaman. Yajaman means the performer. Chaye. He desires that. Karma Phala Dura Fele. Eba Kare Karma. Hridaya Vishuddha Tara. Hoya Ei Marma. Vishuddha Hridaya Atmarati. Sunirmal. Udaya Hoye Hai. Kramasha Prabal. A person should throw far away the results of karma and perform his devotees. Karma phala dhure fele, ebe karma kare. So what actually the Vedas does is progressively evolve the jiva. The jivas have a desire to perform, get material results. They take up to dharma, they perform karma kanda, and they understand ultimately by practicing dharma and enjoying the results of karma kanda, oh, this is all material. The soul being spiritual cannot attain satisfaction. So because he has now performed dharmic activities, his heart has become purified to a certain degree. Ultimately, he gives up doing karma with the desire for phala. So he should throw far away the results of karma and perform his duties. That is what is called as Nishkama Karma Yoga. This will purify his heart and help him to chant the holy name. So ultimately, when he performs Nishkama Karma Yoga, the heart gets purified and he will go to the path of self-realization where he becomes qualified to take up the holy name. A purified heart, Vishuddha Hridaya, strives for self-realization. Atmarati Sunirmala. Gradually, spiritual desires will arise in the heart and become powerful. Udaya hoya hoy kramasha prabhal. So then the spiritual desires in the heart will manifest. So this is the path given so that how slowly from karma kanda you come to nishkama karma yoga. With nishkama karma you purify your heart to attain self-realization, and the highest self-realized soul takes pleasure ultimately in chanting the holy names, and the soul's spiritual awakening happens where he has spiritual desire to perform spiritual activities, that is to serve and love God, that is devotional service. So this is the progression which can happen. Now, those who have not even performed any dharmic activities, who are the most sinful of sinful, they might take up to the chanting of the holy name, being in association of a pure devotee, and they will attain self-realization by chanting the holy names itself and attain pure love of Godhead by chanting the holy names. So this is the point of discussion. The remaining verses are few, which we will take in the next week and complete this chapter. There was one question by Virendra Yadav Prabhuji. I will take up that and then we'll end this session.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It's just clarification, Prabhuji. Can we say that until our faith is not strongly developed, we are prone to
Or the audio is not functioning at your end. Can you repeat the question?
Prabhuji, it's just clarification. My question is कि until our faith is not strongly developed, we are prone to commit these offenses towards holy name, chanting the holy name.
Yes, so the most important faith we should have is Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Nitya Mukto Purna Shuddho Abhinnatvam Namanami. Abhinnatvam. There is no difference between Krishna, the sound vibration, and Krishna, the person. With this kind of faith, we should chant the holy names. Then we will avoid offenses. In fact, many who have taken up to chanting Hare Krishna might have experienced maybe in the dham or maybe in some yatra or maybe in some retreat. They were in the association of devotees and they were chanting, and suddenly they experienced a kind of ecstasy in their chanting for a few seconds. Oh, this is the glory of the holy name. So they understand that, but still with our normal life and normal consciousness, we forget these experiences, and while chanting, we don't know actually what the holy name has in the storehouse. And that's why we are not attentive in our chanting. We are not careful. We don't chant very respectfully the chanting of the holy names. Understanding the holy name is not different from the holy name. That is why we have to build faith, spiritual faith, bhakti, shraddha, shuddha bhakti, shraddha, by regularly hearing about the holy names, regularly hearing about Nama Tattva, and chanting our regular japa rounds so that we can quickly advance and we can take the full shelter of the holy name and access the full potency of the holy name. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Yes. So we'll stop here. So in the next week, we'll finish this chapter and then go to chapter 9. So in next few weeks, I feel that we will come to chapter 13. Chapter 13 is the most important chapter, chapter 12, which is the root of all offenses, that is inattentive chanting. And here I plan to have a very elaborate discussion on inattentive chanting. And I will be presenting many other points from any other seminars and other commentaries on this inattentive chanting, which will be a separate seminar in itself, which I'll be starting from chapter 12. After the offenses discussion is over, this chapter 12 onwards, I will be starting in depth about inattentive chanting. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai. Hare Krishna.